The impact work was definitely an obstacle on some levels, but I believed that I could somehow make it work. I think people are familiar with the story, but they haven't seen it in its entirety. You know, it's the story of the intersection of business and commerce and how they're both better for it. And I had to open the doors. I had to be more vulnerable than I'm used to being. We've been doing this for 40 years, and I think after 40 years, we have built a great foundation from which we can now build something even greater on top of it. Engaging with people, not just what's on their body, what's on their mind, not just what they stand in, but what they stand for. You can create something that has inherent sustainable value and will overcome various trends and headwinds, and so that's what we set out to do.
When I started the doc, I thought I knew so much about the work that he had done. I didn't have a clue. Kenneth, fashion icon, but also incredibly fierce activist for 40 years. It was the hardest movie I've ever made, because how do you capture that in a 90-minute movie? The intensity, the dedication, and the fierce authenticity of his commitment to cause, it's real. He's the real deal. I found it contagious, very infectious, and I wanted to dive in and join him in making an impact. Some of these subjects, HIV/AIDS and homelessness, social justice, and certainly mental health now, these are really, really serious, impactful, important issues. To do the work that he needs to do, he needs to laugh. He needs to be able to pull away and see joy in the world, and I felt that we needed to do the same thing. Kenneth has a great sense of humor. I mean, look at his advertising. It's so funny and so clever. So that was easy, actually, to toggle back and forth between the intensity and the humor. Kenneth, I think, is an incredible collaborator and surrounds himself with the best in the world. So on the Mental Health Coalition, or HIV/AIDS, he pulled in thought leaders and experts, and he does not take no for an answer. And that mindset and that belief that you can make change and you can make the world a better place, and he's not going to look up until he moves the needle, and then he's going to dive right back down and keep going on really important social impact issues while managing a global business that's extraordinary, really inspired me to have more purpose in my life. And I hope that the audience that sees the film will have the same takeaway and be moved to action.
We have this notion to be everywhere all the time, but I spent a lot of time focusing on how to say as much as I could in as few words as possible. That's hard, but then you have a message that has a higher likelihood of resonating and staying with your audience. What we've done is brought basic business principles to philanthropy, which is unique, and then ultimately infuse it into the business, make it part of what the business is and who the business is. You have to speak to the whole person. You have to understand who they are, and as I used to often say, I put myself in the proverbial shoes of the customer that I want to do business with, in the hope that they'll want to put themselves in mind, doing purpose on purpose.
Kenneth Cole, you are the best.
There is only one Kenneth Cole. I was so blown away by his documentary. If there's a problem, there's a solution. And his soul is committed to a solution. I followed him when the AIDS epidemic was out, because we had just done Seventh on Sale. Kenneth is bringing everybody together. Nobody communicates as clearly and as effectively and to be able to touch everybody as Kenneth, dressing and addressing the issues at hand. And I respect him. I look up to him.
Tonight it's incredible that we give him the Lifetime Achievement. This is what we call our shoe Oscars. So Kenneth has actually been a part of the history of these awards from the very beginning. And Kenneth has, from day one, made a difference in this industry and outside this industry. And as a gay man in New York City growing up, Kenneth had a profound impact on my life, and I was young during the AIDS crisis and scared out of my mind. There were very few heroes that picked up the torch and said, we're going to fight for you. I think Kenneth is so young at heart, a quality that we sometimes ignore, but he continues to look for the pivot, how to be relevant, how to stay in the game. And he's a master at that, and he always has been.
It feels a little odd that they're giving a Lifetime Achievement Award to somebody who's as young as I am. It's very meaningful. There's no doubt about it. And maybe ultimately the ultimate gift. But I don't get lost in it. And I think today we've found a way to continue to make a meaningful impact and connect with people in a meaningful way. The brand has to have a point of view. It has to have a reason to exist. And that point of view has to evolve with the times, with the world, with people's circumstances. And you can do it through social impact, you can do it through cause, you could do it through aesthetic, you could end use through lifestyle. And I understand that as good as we are today, we have to be as good tomorrow. The brand is the ultimate curator.